Welcome to Thrive by the Rising Muse, where your mental health and spiritual growth meet. Mental health, really. Today, we're diving into a personal development, persevering. You know what? We're just recounting the year. See what's happening and what's to come. So stay tuned for a great guest and an unforgettable episode packed with insight and motivation.
Yes.
I'm Naty.
I'm Veda.
And we are here to thrive.
Good morning. Today, we're thrilled to be closing the year out with an extraordinary guest who embodies resilience and the power of perspective. Our guest today is Mark V. Smith, also known as the curator of a bigger vision within. Let me get that right. Curator of a bigger vision within. Mark is a celebrated speaker on TEDx presenter and podcast host of The Process, and a nationally acclaimed trainer who has touched countless lives through his work.
As new podcasters, we just decided to sit back, relax, have a fellow podcaster, talk about the journey, the lessons learned this year, and what's coming up. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, so what made you start a podcast?
Wow. Back in 2016, I'm sorry, 2018, I had lost my job. I was working as a career development specialist for a for-profit school, and they had the desire to close their business on December 18th of 2018, which was 7 days before Christmas. I had a lot of frustration. I had a lot of displaced anger and unsure. But I've always felt that comfort was a casualty of growth. And I got comfortable. I got comfortable in that role. And to have myself have to look in my own mirror and figure out what it's going to take for me to grow, that was a great wake-up call for me. You know, I was upset now, but I understood the magnitude and what it's done, and shame on them because I'm doing what I'm doing now. But it woke me up because I thought I've got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of great things that have happened to my life. I, like everybody else, have had challenges, been forced to dig deep, been forced to hit rock bottom and look straight up. So I said, let me start writing some things down, journaling a little bit. So that was 2018. In 2020, a good friend of mine approached me because I just decided, let me just put a YouTube video out there just to talk about some things and see what would happen. And I looked up and I had a couple hundred views and likes. And I'm like, wait a minute, I might be doing something right. So a good friend of mine who owns Star 107 FM came to me. He said, Mark, I like what you're doing. How would you like to have a show on our station on Saturday mornings? And I'm like, David, I don't know if I really want to do this. And I remember him telling me distinctly, he said, let me tell you something. This is the first and the last time I'm going to make this offer to you. You either take it or you don't. And I asked my wife about it. I said, what do you think? She said, I think he's right. You've been seasoned. You've been ready. It's time to get it out there and learn from your mistakes. And it started rough. I mean, it started from the point to where, you know, I had to write things. I had paper in front of me and I had to read it, and you could hear the paper shuffling in the background. But I knew I'm the type of person that likes to work backwards. So I knew where I wanted to go in the end. It's just filling in the spaces to get there. And I launched that in 2020. I'm actually into my 4th year. I'm on two radio stations, potentially a third out in California. Having an opportunity to meet phenomenal people such as yourself, and just build a community of individuals who are trying to make a difference in the world that we live in, which is turbulent all the time.
That's awesome.
You know,
you said we were phenomenal.
Well, thank you. Here's the thing. It's wild because, and now, almost 2 years into it, I know that it's a God thing. This is how this started for us too. I was working for a company for 18 years, and I was let go. I was laid off, and I did not know what I was going to do. I just you know, and it was a crazy time, she can tell you. Um, and I was a writer before I lost that job. Um, and I had a blog that I had started back in 2009, and then I had written some books and stuff. But the blog had been kind of abandoned, and I had time now. I didn't have a job, so I started writing again. And I was like, and one of the things God had always told me, even when I was writing, was, I want you to use your talents for me. Like at one point, I was trying to write a book that it was not, I'm not gonna say it's not godly, like it was bad, but it was more mainstream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My brain just froze. He was like, "I'm not letting you do this." I'm like, "Okay, all right, we'll do that." So, so I've always known that that's what he wanted me to do, and but I was, it was funny because the company was trying to bring me back, and I was like, "Oh, then this is like a vacation. We're gonna be okay." But there were opportunities for me to learn certain things in the meantime. And I was like, well, I have to promote my blog and my book, so let me learn some marketing and some, you know, courses here and there. The job offer, the position came. They were about. It took a minute. They were about to call me. I just needed the offer. Everything was set. They froze the position. And I was like, okay, what is it that you want me to do? I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's not like I was sitting at home eating bonbons. I was applying for all kinds of stuff, not even an interview. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And until he dropped this in my heart, and he repeated that. All I want you to do is use your talents, your experiences for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even tell you how the word podcast came about because I can't tell you. All I know is one day I woke up and I told her, the Lord is telling me we have to do a podcast. I have a master's in counseling, so that's why
Okay.
our podcast is Faith, Family, and Mental Health.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And the complicated name of Thrive by the Rising Muse is because the actual name of the podcast is Thrive, but my brand as an author was the Rising Muse. If you look at our shirts,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we just got them yesterday, so we're kind of.
So I'm gonna send you my address. So Christmas is coming.
Oh,
So you send it.
my God.
And it's a woman worshiping,
Mm-hmm.
because my brand as a writer was all kinds of inspiration is an act of worship. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why that was the logo. So it was Thrive under the brand of Rising Muse. Like I said, long story. So I tell her, I think no, I don't think what the Lord is telling me, we have to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I let her tell her part because she was like, he called you, not me. So talk about a lot of prayer and stuff. Ooh, she was like,
I didn't
no.
hear that.
Yeah, that's what she told me. I didn't hear that. I didn't know.
And I know God talks to me,
Yes, he
okay?
does.
I didn't hear that, okay? I didn't even hear him trying to tell me that. It just came, I'm like, podcast, that's great. And I'm thinking, she's got a master's, I got a bachelor's in behavioral health. You know, I could be behind the camera. I said, girl, I got your hair, your makeup, and your wardrobe, you know? Some down like 4 flat tires. I'm with you. She said, no. God told me you're supposed to be by my side. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. No, baby. No, that was a mistake. But we gonna work through this. It took me a minute.
God basically came down from earth and said, get to work.
In church.
Yes.
In church.
Yes.
I'm like, you paid him, didn't
Yeah,
you?
she still
Paid
tells me
him.
that I pay the pastor.
You paid him. Thousands of people now in the congregation, and you paid him to say that.
It's funny. We are in a very large church.
Mm-hmm.
And the day of this particular service, we were in the overflow. So he wasn't even looking at us. And because it's such a big church, we have many pastors.
Mm-hmm.
This particular pastor I happen to know, but I hadn't seen him in years. And so he didn't even know I was there. We were in the overflow that day. And she's like, "You paid it." I said, "Wait until we finish and I'll talk to him." He's going to be like, "Man, I haven't seen you in forever." And yeah, so then she saw someone at a doctor's appointment. That's the lady. She called me and said, "Oh, you paid this lady." I said, "I don't even know where you are."
Paid her. A lady in a wheelchair. My husband had just had hip replacement. I had taken him to PT.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting in the waiting room while he's back there working out. Well, this lady came in a wheelchair, and I moved so that she could have room with her wheelchair. And when I moved, she said, "I don't bite." I said, "No, ma'am, I just want to give you room." She said, "I got plenty. Come on back over here with me." Yes, ma'am, because that's how I was raised.
Right. That's right.
So we're sitting there and everything, and she just looked at me and said, "What are you afraid of?"
Mm-hmm.
"Ma'am, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid to move forward?" And I looked at her. I knew it was God. I said, "I'm afraid of failure." She said, "Yeah, I know." She said, "But do it afraid. Do it anyway." That's when I called her. Took a picture of the lady, called her, and said, "You paid her."
I thought, "I don't
She
even know where
was
you
like,
are."
"I don't even know where you are." Yeah, you do. God came to me through other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, I didn't have a vision. I didn't dream anything. He brought other people to me. And the way I feel about God, okay, I'm not going to let you bring too many more people to me because this may get a little ugly.
You gently wake me.
Mm-hmm.
Gently.
Mm-hmm. So I
Next,
told her,
next time I'm coming hard.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I don't see it, but if you say so.
Mm-hmm.
And we went from there. This woman right here, she learned all the technical part. I was praying. Okay. She learned how to do this. I was praying.
Yeah, she has prayed me through this thing.
She would call me and say, "Ooh, we could do this and we could do that." I was still praying.
Mm-hmm.
And God made it happen. All of a sudden, one day, it was April 7th, and we were launching our first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, is this really happening?
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. And I kept praying. And this is where God put me.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
He
right.
set us here together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't argue after that. I tried to, but I couldn't. It's just meant to be.
How has your Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's useless at that point.
It
Oh, yeah.
is. It is
Because
useless.
again, you're disobeying a directive.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to do that. I'm
He's
not
giving
going
you
to
a
do that.
directive. He's giving you the foresight to see it. You know, you said something about you didn't see the vision, and I remember one day sitting here writing, and I kind of had a block as well. I mean, I'm this was like a little more than my first year in. I was just sitting here in my office writing, thinking, and I was thinking, Mark, why are you truly doing this? Where are you going? And then something appeared to me and said, you know, Mark, many people can see, but not many have vision.
Mm-hmm.
And when I harnessed that and said, well, what is my vision? And he said, go back to the beginning. Go very back to the beginning and think about the day that you said that you were going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Catapult that and times it by 10, and then that's where you're going to go. And it's just been it's there were some tough moments. I can't lie. I mean, you know, you're in podcasting. There's been some tough moments, some tough times. There's been some brain locks, brain freeze, technical issues.
Right.
I mean, you have, you know, guests move you, guests, you know, kind of upset you a little bit. I mean, it's a whole plethora of things that go into this work. But at the end of the day, I always know that I have a chance to change lives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you have a chance to change a life, you're doing what he told you to do.
That's what it's about. Changing lives.
Yes.
If it can be at least one person, it's worth it.
That's it.
That's it. One at a time.
And to me, the whole journey has been amazing because
Yes, man.
one of the things you were saying was all the people that we've met,
Yes.
all the things that we've learned. I can say for me, even though I've been in mental health since '99 and all the education and whatnot, I've learned so much
Mm-hmm.
from our guests
Yes.
and from people who live experiences similar and not similar
Mm-hmm.
to mine, and the heart of God.
Yes.
We've had so many people who we have felt the presence of God during
Yes.
during the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
um, and people from places that I don't know if I'll ever get to.
I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know I was going to talk to a person from Australia.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even know I was going to talk to a person from Canada.
we've had like 3 Canadian
Mm-hmm.
guests. Yeah, it blows my mind.
It does. Blows my mind too.
Mm-hmm.
When we said yes and we were all in,
Mm-hmm.
God started moving, opening doors. And, you need to work for what you do.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But our prayer was, God, just make sure that we're in your will.
Hmm.
We're doing what you want us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he has shown us in so many ways. We just look at each other and go, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like we are both in WDJYFM.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
99.1.
Yeah, you know that
I
by
know
by
that.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was a mind blown for us because we, like she said, we launched in April.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We got the email uh, in June,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, okay.
Like I thought they say you need to do this a year or two before stuff start happening.
No.
Right. And the thing was, oh, and that was the crazy part. So we had a meeting the next day after the email, and it was a Zoom call, so we are all dressed up for like a job interview and whatnot. And we thought, well, we don't have the stats because we just started, but
Mm-hmm.
these are all our dreams and goals and whatnot. No, no, no. They were ready. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, no, we want you. And we were like,
We thought it was an interview.
interview? No, no, no.
It was we already decided we want
Mm-hmm.
you.
If you
And I'm
want
ready
us,
to
here's the
send over
contract.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're like,
Yeah, and so many more doors are going to open. I mean, it's just it's the power of having an opportunity to connect. I go back to COVID and one of the
Yes.
most horrific times in American history.
yes,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
However, I felt that was the biggest jump for me as well because
Mm.
it allowed me to network and meet so many different people and people just like you talked about, people from Canada, people from England, people from
Mm-hmm.
Australia, people from wherever. They and I were dialoguing. I was on their show, they were on my show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we just created a genuine friendship of
Mm-hmm.
everybody trying to work together to
Right.
to spread a word of
Mm-hmm.
perseverance and hope, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get through it. It's not
Mm-hmm.
if you get through. I always talk about our track record, right? Our
Mm-hmm.
track
Mm-hmm.
record of getting through things is 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
The results may not have been what we
Right.
want, but we
Right.
got through it, and we got
Yes.
through it. We got through it the way it was supposed to be done,
Yeah.
and a lesson that we can take with it to help us change somebody else or help somebody else as they attempt to go through it. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I did this show. That's why that's why I named this The Process, because
Mm-hmm.
life is a true process.
It
You're
truly
going to have
is.
great days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days that you think you can reach the top. You're going to have days that you're going to feel rock bottom. But
Mm-hmm.
what you do inside each one of those days, and who are you affecting? Who are you affecting?
That's true.
So that was my main motivator behind
Mm-hmm.
it. Is
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to change the course of society. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to change the course of nature. I want to change legacies because I tell my grandkids, I said, you probably won't see the changes and things that I'm talking about, but
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
your kids will. If
Yeah.
we stay on this path, your kids, my great grandkids will
Mm-hmm.
be able see and feel the progression that we all talk about. So
Right?
it's fun. It's an amazing opportunity. It's a blessing to be able to do it
Yes.
Yeah.
and to have people that I don't want to say hold on to your word, but really apply some of the things you talk
Mm,
about means a lot. It truly means a lot.
exactly. Exactly. Mark, do you have any
Yes.
stories? Do you
Oh
have
man.
any stories from your audience or your clients that, just really stuck out?
Yeah. And yeah, and it
It
just seems like
wasn't a fun one.
no,
Uh-oh.
I mean it's every time I speak, or have the ability to speak someplace in a venue, there's always somebody that comes up to me and tells me that what I've said made an impact and makes sense to what they say. There's that old saying, 6 times, 6 separate ways.
Mm,
Meaning,
Mm.
meaning you have to hear something 6 times for psychologically remember it or we can apply it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember a young man coming up to me about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was speaking at the National Reentry Workforce Conference in Philadelphia.
mm,
And this was a conference of all educators, government officials who work generally with our reentry population or are justice involved. And I remember a gentleman coming up to me from Tennessee after we got done because I talked about the word free. And a little background on me, I use acronyms for almost everything that I do. So I said
Mm-hmm.
free stands for finally releasing everyone's expectation. So
Oh.
I
I
did a
love
presentation
it.
on that. And he said, Mr. Smith, I've been holding myself back from being free. I've been looking at everybody else for opinion and approval when all I really need is my own approval to move forward. And I said, well, what took you so long to kind of reach that assessment? He said, I just opened my heart. I just
Mm-hmm.
open my heart and allow that to go and allow it to
Mhm.
flow. And these are stories that I get almost every single time that I go someplace and speak, or I get done with a training session or anything like that. Is God gives me the words to say. I don't script the speech. I don't do it. Life isn't scripted. So I
Mm-hmm.
know
Mhm.
what I want to talk about, and I know your audience, everybody's audience is different. So I
Mhm.
just get in there and just I always pray hard before I
Yeah.
go on
Mm-hmm.
a date
Yeah.
or pray hard before I do a podcast and say, God, just give me the word. You
Mm-hmm.
got it in me. I've got it. You just let me give it to me so I
Mhm.
can articulate it and everybody can take it and apply it. So
Mhm.
that's probably one of the most amazing stories. The other, I think, the most fascinating story was when last year in January, or this past January, I had an opportunity to speak in front of world-renowned doctors and surgeons and a WG Montague. They had a board retreat, and
Mhm.
they
Mm.
contacted me to speak at their board retreat. And everybody, everybody's looking in that room stone face. I mean,
Uh-huh.
so I
Mhm.
just busted. I said, "What can I do to make these people clap or get happy?" So I said, "Okay, let me try something weird." So
Mhm.
I said, "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're
Right.
happy and you know it, let the state of DC know it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands." And they just busted out laughing.
You
And,
broke the
and
ice.
it was just I knew I wanted something to do it. And then I
Mhm.
talked about I used the word I did something on what I'm talking about now in my series is destiny to some of your choices. So
Mhm.
I talked about the meaning of their destiny and what they're looking to do to affect the world. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the doctors actually came up to me. He said, "Sir, that was the most amazing presentation I ever heard in my life. I'm so thankful that you're here today. Please stay in touch. We will have next year's board retreat. We would like to see if you'd be willing to fly and come back to us and have a great time." And I mean, those are the feel good
Mm-hmm.
portions of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had those that came up to me and said, you're ludicrous. This is crazy.
Mhm.
I don't get it. This is too emotional. And I
Mhm.
understand it because you're not
Mhm.
going to affect everybody the
Right.
same.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
as you said, if just one, if you change one
Mm-hmm.
life, one changes two, two changes four, four changes eight. You know
Yeah.
the stereo from there. So
Mm-hmm. I think when you're a newbie, you tend to hold on too much to the numbers, and yeah, me. And I think one of the things that we do daily affirmations with scripture,
mhm.
and we started them August. August.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I see, I don't see the views. And I'm like, we're doing this. And I purposely put them at 6 o'clock in the morning because I said that's when people wake up. And
Mhm.
it's 30 seconds to a minute, you know, get at least your presence of God in the car or while you're getting dressed or whatever. And I you know, I whine to her. She's the the poor recipient
She's
of
your
all my
therapist. She's
craziness.
your
No,
therapist.
baby, we good. Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't think anybody's listening to this. And she was like, oh my God, you have no idea. So and so and so and so tell me that they wake up to us every morning. And
Mhm.
then other people, and it's like, oh, okay, somebody's actually watching it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I didn't know it was impacting, which is kind of ego in a way, because we supposed to spread the seed and let God do the rest.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it was
But you're
like, okay,
human.
I
But
want
you're
to know
human.
that,
That you're
huh?
human. You want to know
Mhm.
that you're
Right.
making.
Mhm.
I want to know
You
that
want
it's
that
doing
confirmation.
something.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want that
Right.
confirmation. Hmm.
Right. And I was like, we're doing all this work, and I want to know that at least somebody's watching it.
Hmm.
And that took care of it. The crazy thing is that now, and again, like you said, people need to be exposed to things several times.
Hmm.
Now I can see 400 or 500 views a day. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
okay, no, somebody's actually watching them. I'm
Hmm.
good. And but I have detached from the numbers.
Yeah,
uh
that's good.
She
That's
had
good.
to, or
Good.
I was
That's
gonna be
good.
out. Yeah, this
You know,
was not
and I
gonna
think,
work.
and not to interrupt you, but I think that's the course of it. That's
It
only
is.
natural. You want to make sure. Well, you are in the mindset that you want to make sure you're not wasting your time, so to
right.
speak,
Mhm.
and you're not pushing all this stuff out there, and you're not, and people aren't responding, or people aren't looking. I mean, I felt the same way, and and
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
and when I first launched it, and I saw those first couple views for YouTube before I went to radio and to actually doing presentations,
Hmm.
and I was kind of, okay, this is okay.
Hmm.
Is this a normal for a podcaster? Because we know the average podcast only lasts for 2.5 years and it's done. They
Mhm.
people wrap it up and close it down. But
Hmm.
Mhm.
there's hundreds of thousands of podcasts and
Hmm.
podcasters out there. So why would people want to listen to mine? You know,
Right.
Mhm.
what would be the differentiating factor? And I think
Mhm.
once you get to the point to just say it doesn't matter. You know,
Hmm.
I know my value, I know my worth, I know what I have. Somebody needs this, and as long
Mhm.
as you keep that mindset, you will see heavy increase and it'll multiply. It truly,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and it'll multiply quick. It'll
Oh yeah.
multiply.
Well, and like I said, I already stopped looking at numbers. Like at the beginning, it was kind of crazy, but my thing what finally made me detach from the numbers was, God, if you gave me this, you're gonna put this in front of whoever you wanted
Right.
it for.
That's
You
right.
you had me do this for somebody,
That's right.
so you're gonna put that somebody in front of it.
Mhm.
That's right. That's
And if I'm working from you, then I need to step out.
Mhm.
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 Let him run the show because it's his.
That's right.
Hmm.
And I have girlfriends to say, I wake up in the morning getting ready to work for work, listening to your affirmations.
Hmm.
The affirmations let her know that people were watching.
Hmm.
We had more views on our affirmation
Hmm.
than we had
On episodes
on the
sometimes. Hmm.
episodes. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling her, see, look,
Mm-hmm.
because she asked me when we first started on the radio, you think you don't want to listen? Babe, 18,000 listeners a week
Mm-hmm.
times four, okay? At least one person is going to listen to it,
That's right.
okay?
That's right.
And more people listen than we thought.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we got our
oh.
first report on ratings and stuff, and we
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh, that's a
Mm.
lot of people."
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Those ratings needed to be seen by her, not by me, but
Right.
by
Right.
her. And when
Right.
she saw the ratings and I saw her face, I'm like, thank you, God.
We are the perfect balance because
Mhm.
I'm a type A personality. If you haven't been able to figure that out, and
Uh-huh.
she is so laid
Z.
back.
I'm type Z.
I don't know
Mhm.
what you are, but but she is very laid back.
Mhm.
She and God put us together because we complement each other.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
she's my sanity, and I'm her motor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
She keep me moving.
yeah, I'm her
Mhm.
motor, and she's my
She
sanity.
had me at the Nutcracker yesterday.
Yeah, here's something. This woman supposedly I don't, that's a horrible word. I don't know if I said it right, but
I won't be offended.
it's okay. You retired when? Oh, you're
Oh,
not retired, but
8 years ago.
oh yeah, that's what she thinks. Um, yeah, and 8 years ago, ain't
Yeah.
that when we met?
Yes.
Oh, see, God had a plan,
Yes.
Mhm.
and she thought she had retired,
I thought so.
and then I came in, and
Mover and a shaker, I tell you.
and
This girl got
yeah, she fusses at me all the time because I always have something going on,
always.
and
Mhm.
I take her with me because
We don't go anywhere without each other.
we even go grocery shopping together.
Family
Everything.
vacations,
There you go. There you go.
Uh huh.
everything. She's family.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
And
right.
but she thought she was retired, and she didn't know that God had a second face. And sometimes she yells, "I am supposed to be retired." I go, "Bless your heart."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, one thing I did was when I graduated from high school in 81, I went straight into college because being raised in the South by
That's
a
what you're
black
supposed to
mother
do.
who's an educator,
Mhm.
you don't say, Mom, I don't think I want to go to college. You just know that's the next step. Well, I was there, but I wasn't there.
Right. Right.
So, God did some things. I ended up getting married, having my children, raised my family, being a grandma and a mima. But God said, I'm not through.
Mhm.
There's some things I want you to do. Now, I knew years ago God had called me into the ministry of reconciliation at Black Church Week in North Carolina. Couldn't go to sleep 2 o'clock in the morning, sitting in a rocking chair. And God's telling me, I call you to be a counselor. Okay. That's when it hit. That's when it started. So I realized my gifts, not trying to be a counselor, but just talk, letting people talk and being a sounding board. And that grew. But then one day I woke up and I heard the spirit of my mom. Look up Christian universities. I'm in the living room by myself. What? Look up Christian universities. I started looking. I found Grand Canyon. Before I knew anything, they had my transcript from 100 years ago.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you can find it? Yeah, we
Mhm.
found your transcript. Went to college, did 4 years in 3, and graduated.
With honors.
Didn't even know how to pronounce the word, Mark. Cum laude. My daughter looked in the book when we were there the day of graduation because she and my daughter, and at that time, 8-month-old grandson, they flew with me.
Mhm.
And when we looked in the book, she said, Mom, you got a star by your name. I said, why? We look at the bottom of the page. She said, cum laude. I was doing the same thing.
Cum laude, people, cum laude.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, I heard that from my mom and my aunt because they were in summa cum laude and all that.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, I'm in the category with my mom, girl. I'm smart. I'm smart.
Mhm.
Oh my, when they gave me that gold tassel,
But she was
they
rocking
knew
it.
people were going to cry. They had people lined up down the hall with boxes of Kleenex. I got my gold tassel. I boo-hooed. I'm grabbing tissue everywhere. in graduation, when I walked across stage, I said, Mama, you need to be here. Now, mind you, I started when I was 53, and I graduated the week before my 57th birthday.
Oh, praise God.
And I said,
Praise God.
Mom, you need to be here, girl. I'm
Oh,
walking
she
down the
did.
steps. I
She did.
heard she said, I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, other than my grandchildren, the proudest day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I did it, because my mom, she never pushed me. She said, you deserve to have a college degree. That's the kind of family we came from, doctors and PhDs and all this stuff. She said, you just deserve it. So I did it for me.
That's right.
I'm thinking I get my degree and just go and sit down. I got my degree. Check it off my bucket list. No, God said, you're going to work with this. I gave you knowledge to go along with your giftedness. You need to use it. Yeah, need to use it. So, and here we are. And I'm thankful that she, only in this case, I'm not going to say everything. I'm thankful that she pushed me out of my comfort zone. Because if I say I'm thankful that she pushes me, she going to lose her mind. So just in this situation, I'm thankful that she pushed
She
me.
said the same thing yesterday about the Nutcracker. She was like, "You're always coming up," da, da, da." And then when we were there, you made the right call. So I
It
just
was
let her be.
wonderful. I'm like, wow. I loved it.
We took the three of her grandkids to the Nutcracker, and we went, and it was cool. It
Well,
was
we
fun.
forgot to share with you, we're homeschoolers.
Yeah, that's my issue.
And we homeschooled three of my grandsons, 18, 13, and 3.
Mm.
3 going on
I
35.
don't know how. I woke up one day and I was a homeschool teacher, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? I never thought about homeschool. We went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
But what made her talk about homeschooling?
The school shootings. That's what
Rob
started me.
Yeah.
Elementary in
Yeah.
Uvalde.
Yeah.
That's the day that she cried, and she said Mason will not be going to
Right.
school.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to teach him. I'm like, teach? Now I'm a teacher. Every time I answer the phone, I'm doing something else. Stop answering the phone. Really?
Mark, if you think about this year, what are the biggest lessons that this
Wow.
year has brought to you?
At the end of every year, I think about what the
Mm-hmm.
next year is going to hold.
Right.
So at the end of last year, I coined 2024 as a year to strengthen our strengths.
Mm.
I
And
like that.
what it was speaking to me was that I'm going to get tested with a lot of things that I was okay with, but
Mm.
now it's going to make me stronger.
Okay.
And it started January 1st. A good friend of mine, Donnie Walker, who used to be the owner proprietor of WGLRO in Houston, he passed New Year's Day.
Oh.
He
Sorry.
he had called me New Year's Eve, and I was with some friends, and I didn't call him, or I didn't take the call, and I called him the next day, and his fiance, who I introduced them,
Oh.
she answered the phone and told me that he had passed, and
Wow.
I was shocked. I was
Mm,
literally shocked.
yes.
In February of 2024, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Oh wow.
Where in November 19th, 2003, I lost my father at age 62 to prostate cancer. Now,
Hmm.
November 19th is my birthday. So
No.
I spent years trying to decipher and break through from that, saying, wait a minute, why did all this happen? But again, that's a growing process. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and after I met with the urologist and the surgeon, they gave me my options, and there was no doubt that I was going to have the surgery because I didn't want. I wanted to, God, if you can, if through surgery, if you can kill it, and you can eliminate that poison from my
Mm-hmm.
body, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, while contemplating that, my wife had some medical conditions, and she had to have an 18-hour surgery in
Jesus.
yes in March of that year. So you're talking January, February, March. I'm being tested to be able
Wow.
to build reserve and keep that faith. In the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, boxing in, I'm starting to get all types of information from organizations that want me to come and speak. I spoke in May. I spoke in Texas, the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals. So I spoke in San Antonio. I spoke in Dallas. That was San Antonio. I spoke in Dallas for a rehabilitation organization, and then I had my surgery. Once I had my surgery, that was in May. 2 days after I had surgery, my best friend passed away suddenly. So that was from January through
May,
July, really everything through July, because
right?
what I didn't pick in there, we had my buddy. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh.
My Rhodesian Ridgeback, he had liver cancer and he passed
Oh.
in July. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, Mark, you coined 2024 the year's your strength, strengthen your strengths. What have you learned? What have you learned? And I learned one again as a reiteration that life is so important. Living every day like you're dying is essential for everybody. You don't get, we all say you get that 86,400. That's the seconds we all have in a day. What am I going to do with it? Every single day, am I going to squander it? Am I going to reinvent myself? What am I going to do? So from July to today, all those things, all those situations in life have resonated, and I had the answer. My mission for this year to strengthen my strengths was to increase my faith, was to go ahead and let individuals know that whatever happens, it's going to be okay. I was strengthening my resolve to be able to help people really dig into what they need to do to move forward in so many different situations. My mission was to help some of the youth again. I had kind of strayed away and backed away from some of the kids, the 18 to 24-year-olds, get back into there and give them what you have, because that's where you got to start. You were a young athlete. You need people to mentor you. I always go back, and it really made me think about a story. My very first job, I was 14 years old. And in that job, I had to, you had to get picked. You had to get selected to go out, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go clean up parks. You had to get picked for that.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, you had to get picked for that.
Hot
So,
claps.
so, I did. It was called Youth Conservation Corps. So I did get picked to go do it. And what we were assigned to do were to go clean a path for a walking trail in Columbus, Ohio. It's called Black Lake Wood. So there was nothing but fields. So all we had was a wheelbarrow, an axe, and a rake. So we had to clear a 5-mile. In 6 weeks, we had to clean a 5-mile stretch for people to walk through. And when I tell that story, people are like, "Man, that's brutal." But it really resonated that throughout life, we're clearing a path.
Yeah.
Everything that we do, we are moving things aside, moving dirt, moving things out, the things that we don't need, taking it and moving it to the side, so we or somebody else behind us can walk in a clear path. And it took me to this year, 2024, to say that I was trying to strengthen my strengths then. That's what it meant. So I really start to think about all my life choices, all the things that I've done, and say, God, thank you so much for allowing me to experience. Allowing me to experience some of those things that happened only this year, because it truly is making me stronger. Because now I've said 2025, the best is yet to come. So here we go.
All right.
Let's go.
That's great.
Let's go.
This year it was when we started the podcast, and I think for me, this was the year of blindly trusting the Lord. That whole image of the kid jumping into the father's arm blindly because you're gonna catch him. And I for me that was it. And also, and some of the things you said, that when you are doing God's purpose, the enemy's not happy, and everything that can go wrong will. Do you remember the week? No, it was not the week. Like 2 days before we launched, what happened here?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so our studio is in my house, in my office, and I have an older house, but it hadn't. I mean, we had issues with plumbing, but not this kind. It was. I promise. It was like 2 days before we launched. Both toilets stocked, and the tubs
Start backing up.
and everything started backing up
Water start coming up from
for
everywhere.
for every place.
Yes.
And I was like,
Every place.
and my crazy self was trying to clean it up with a little bucket because I didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
And I remember I have certain spiritual moms throughout my life,
Mhm.
and I remember my phone call was, I launch on Sunday and this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I call her and I'm like, you know, I need some help. So she came and we cleaned, and the plumbers came and whatnot.
What were you told was the problem? That's the big thing.
I can't remember.
She had tree roots
Oh
growing
yeah,
in her sewer system.
right.
Mhm.
So we had to get somebody. The plumber came. Then we had to call a specialist to
To
come
fix that.
and clear out all the roots and put
Mhm.
in new piping.
Now, bear in mind, I'm not working.
Nope.
And I was like, well, we got to do what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, God is so good that the exact amount of money that I had to pay for that was my tax return.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yay.
That was wild to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then I can't remember all the months, but you might be able to fill in. But then in July, we went to South Carolina for my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and we came back with which something I had never heard of: hand mouth foot disease. The baby had it for like 2 days. I had it for a month.
Wow.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't touch anything.
Fingertips burning,
Yeah.
feet
Yes,
burning.
I couldn't nothing. And it was uh, the good thing about being crazy and type A is we had episodes recorded ahead, because
Mhm.
otherwise we would not have been able. See, I'm not all that crazy. We wouldn't have been able to produce
Wouldn't have been
anything
able to do it.
because I always try to have stuff ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that see, my craziness pays off. But but I'm telling you, I couldn't. And then I started peeling off
Yes.
my hands and my. It was. It was.
She was shedding like a snake.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
After it was over, about 3 weeks, the peeling started.
Yes.
Her skin just literally started
Peeling
you
off.
could pull it off.
Yes, it was crazy. And then after that, your cousin died,
Yeah.
and we all had to run to Vegas.
Yeah.
To be
military funeral.
At a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So
things were.
It's like back to back. It was crazy, and
Yeah.
so I think, like I said, my thing for 2024 was just blindly trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things I usually said, I look at my life history, and the same God that has done for me in the past is still on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
He's alive,
That's right.
and he's real.
That's right.
So I ain't got to worry about it
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
because he
That's-
got it.
Yeah.
He had it in 1999. He has it in 2024.
Right. That's right.
Mhm.
And he will always have it.
And he
Always.
right,
Always has. Always will.
right.
Mark,
Mhm.
before we finish up, can you tell us what your plans are for 2025?
The sky's the limit. I
like that.
Sky's the limit. I'm
Don't box yourself in.
Yeah, I'm saying that. I think I tell everybody, think outside the building. Don't think
Mhm.
outside the box. Think outside the building, because
I like
whatever's supposed to happen and whatever my career is supposed to go, God is going to take it and move it. I said, I know that 2025, the best is yet to come. I know I'm
Mhm.
going to do some amazing things. I'm going to continue to touch people's lives. I'm going to continue to build a legacy, which I said is leaders exemplify greatness among choices over the years. So I'm
Mhm.
going to continue to fulfill that. I'm going to continue writing.
Mhm.
My goal is to have everything set to release a book. I
Awesome.
I am
Wonderful.
I'm praying that, praying I'm going to do another TED talk
Uh-huh.
um,
Okay.
That's great.
with some powerful material, and I'm just going to live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Live my best life.
That's it.
There you
I'm gonna have
go.
fun. I'm gonna have fun. Keep
I like
smiling
that.
and keep impact, uplift, and empower people the best that I can.
That's it.
Awesome.
That's it.
Do you
Right.
have any acronyms for 2025? Have you thought
I
of it?
I do, but I'm gonna keep those close to me.
Okay.
Hey, you do you.
You do
I
you.
got
Look.
80. I mean, I've written overnight. If you go back, I went back the other day and looked at my very first podcast, and
Uh-huh.
I think that was the cornerstone, or the what I called it the foundation. That
Mhm.
series
Mm-hmm.
I called the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and I said if we all as humanistic, if we can go back to those acronyms, which I said was AIR,
Mm-hmm.
and with the extra R, so
Mm-hmm.
AIRR, and I
Mm-hmm.
said if we can remain accountable to ourselves, to our families, to those that love us, and
Mm-hmm.
we can continue to operate with integrity.
Integrity.
Everybody knows what integrity is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
If we can continue to operate and be responsible, not just
Mhm.
responsible for ourselves, but responsible for those that are around us, and
Mm-hmm.
we can be respectful. That's AIR,
Yeah.
accountability, integrity, responsibility, and respect.
Yeah.
I still go back to that very first message, that foundation, and say that's where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That that's the formality of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to 2025. But I always close with something that I say. I call it my vision statement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I always say your why is greater than your situation, which is part of your process.
Mm.
I love
Your why
that.
is greater than any situation you go through. And keep in mind, it is part of your process.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Mm-hmm.
true. Well, I would like to end with this because this is what keeps me going, and I know it keeps us going. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Lean not to your own understanding, but in
Mm-hmm.
all your ways acknowledge him. And not
Mm-hmm.
he will, but he shall.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do it, direct our path.
Mm-hmm.
And we give that to you from Thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And we thank you for your time.
Yes.
We thank you for your experience. We thank you for just opening up with us. This was great.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
I'm excited to see what God's going to do with us
that's right.
in 2025.
Yes, it is. The best
Okay.
is yet to
I'm
come.
all in now.
Yeah.
I'm fully vested. I'm on board. Let's do it.
All right.
And know that now you're part of the Thrive family.
Yes, sir.
So any books or anything, the door's always open.
Perfect.
And
Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
being a part of the process family.
Yes.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mark,
Mark.
so much.
Thank you so much as well.
Have
I
a
really
wonderful
appreciate it.
day. And we say Merry
Christmas
Christmas
and Happy
and
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you as well.
God bless you. Bye bye.
And this wraps up our episode of Thrive by the Rising Muse and 2024.
Yes.
Thank you so much for spending any time that you have throughout this year with us.
Mhm.
If you've loved this conversation, please be sure to subscribe, leave us a comment. We love to hear your thoughts.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and more content to help you thrive. Remember, if you're experiencing a mental health crisis, please dial 988. If you know of someone experiencing a mental health crisis, please dial 911 or take them to the nearest emergency room.
If you think you're in a domestic violence relationship or you need to talk and get some assistance, please dial 800-799-7233 or text to 887-888. Make sure you're safe when you're making this outreach. And I want to tell you, please stay after we finish this portion of the video. We're going to show you some funny stuff from 2024.
Some bloopers.
Some bloopers. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful and safe end of the year.
Happy New Year.
And don't forget to
thrive. Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I look good. This is for us.
Okay. It is brighter.
It is brighter.
Okay. So let's turn this off. Stop this. If you want to learn more about Sue's work, make sure to check I'm sorry. That's what she's It's perfect. Yeah.
Parenting. Ugh. Hi, I'm Naty.
Hey. Hey, why you got to
What am I supposed to do?
hello?
Hi, I'm Naty.
And I'm Veda.
We are Thrive by the Rising Muse. We're here to support you through every season of life. With the holidays, just what?
You know you screwed that up and you gonna keep going. I'm just
What you doing?
okay, go back to this. There's a glare because
Alt tab. Just do alt tab. Alt tab. Good morning. Today's affirmation is I am living a life of abundance and prosperity. Our scripture. What happened? No, we have to do it again. Okay. Just let it record and I'll start over. Good morning. Today's affirmation is I am deeply Good morning. Today's affirmation is I find rest and strength in God alone. Our scripture, truly my soul finds rest in God. I wasn't gonna be able to. You couldn't make it.
I don't even know.
What did you?
I don't even know what happened. Jesus. What happened, Lord?
Hi, I'm Naty from Thrive by the Rising Muse.
And I'm Veda from Thrive by the Rising Muse.
We are here to support you through every season of your life. With the holidays just around the corner, we understand it can be challenging. So, whether you're juggling family gatherings, managing stress, or navigating grief, self care is essential. Here's some tips to help you navigate through this holiday season.
Did you say juggling? You said when you're juggling through like she took juggling and jogging and combined it, and it's called juggling. That's what you said.
I do be.
Okay, we
We
keep going. Is it taping?
Probably.
She had to go pee. She'll be right back. She's still pee.
Yes, it's been recording the whole time. Good morning. Our affirmation for today is I am faithful steward of God's gifts. Hi, and welcome to today's affirmation.
Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-mm.
What?
You said today's affirmation.
Yeah, I
is,
forgot to delete some
I
stuff.
am faithful. You didn't put it in A.
We'll start over. Well, but there's just pause it on the other end. I was supposed to clean it and I didn't. Just pause next to it. The button after end recording? No, the pause. For anyone listening who's facing their losses, we hope Nancy's story reminds you that you're not alone. Through grief is private, though grief, wait a minute, it's not through grief, it's though grief.
A.